outlined for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into Sports Grid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Is this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
Welcome to Outspoken. Dan Sileo here for a Sunday edition, and what compelling stories we had coming out of the first divisional day on Saturday. Incredible stuff. We're also going to set you up for a little bit later on for the games this afternoon, but no question about it. What a compelling game we saw in Denver. I mean, the Denver Broncos hold on. They end up getting that win, 33-30, and then the destruction by the Seattle Seahawks against the San Francisco 49ers. We'll hit on that also a little bit later on in the program here, but let's start in Denver, man. No question about it. The storylines that came out of that ball game were incredible. Back and forth, lead changes. You saw so much compelling stuff. No doubt the quarterback play was the big issue in this ball game. I mean, Bo Nix was fantastic, and then it hit. Second play to the end of the ball game. Came back later on, Sean Payton in the presser would come out and say that Bo Nix would end up breaking his ankle. Going into the AFC Championship game, you got Jarrett Stidham that's going to be going into that. Make no mistake about it, man. No doubt that is a devastating blow to the Denver Broncos' chances of winning that AFC. But the game itself, it was just absolutely compelling. Look at the numbers here. I mean, this thing went back and forth. And the storyline, obviously, we mentioned yesterday, if Josh Allen was going to be, if he was going to be Clark Kent or he was going to be Superman. Well, actually, in this game, he was both. You can't have that amount of turnovers in the ball game. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles in the game. He did have 3 touchdowns. He brought him back in the ball game, but Bo Nix was sensational. Big throws to the end zone. I mean, no question about it. It was just a seesaw affair going back and forth. And, a lot of questions now will be in Buffalo, but for the Broncos, I mean, what do you say? You lose your star quarterback going into the AFC Championship game. Tremendous blow to that football's chances of getting to Santa Clara and playing for the Super Bowl. But really the storyline coming out of that ball game's got to be Josh Allen. You saw him at the podium. To me, and I see a lot of people on social media saying, I mean, look at the guy standing there. He's emotional. To me, I thought that was passion. If you don't love the game, and if you don't know that much about the game, you watched it there and you watched some great passion with him. I took that as leadership. I took that as love of the game. Obviously, he trips up. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson. And this was his time. And his football team could not get it done. Too many turnovers in the football game. You're going to hear a lot of people say overrated, overhyped. I don't believe that. I think this guy here is not on a very good football team. I never thought the Buffalo Bills had a great roster heading into this football game. I did think the Denver Broncos had the better roster going into this football game. And it was just Superman or Clark Kent. Remember I said also yesterday, I don't believe that this man here, right here, Josh Allen, I do not believe he was going to be able to win 4 football games in a row with that roster. I do not believe that, and I didn't believe that. And sure enough, it played itself out in this divisional round. So to me, again, the storyline is really not so much that Bo Nix outplayed him, which he did. There's a couple here. You lose Bo Nix, obviously, for the rest of the playoffs. And now also, too, Josh Allen doesn't punch his ticket with his football team to the AFC Championship game. So, we're now getting closer to Santa Clara. We're now starting to see, the pitchers start to, settle here a little bit on who's going to play in that game in Santa Clara. Games today, we'll get to that a little bit later on. But once again, you look at Bo Nix's game. There's no question. Look at the last 2 years and look at the impact here that Sean Payton has had on this player. 279 yards passing in the game, 26 of 46, 3 TDs and an interception in the game. And I thought he made incredible throws to the back of the end zone. I really did. I thought he was sensational in this game. And I really thought that Sean Payton called a hell of a football game. Their defense was all over Josh Allen. It was just a well-played back-and-forth football game. Now, I'm not really an officiating guy, but make no mistake, you cannot call plays and you cannot have officiating dictate ending of football games the way the NFL officials. It's been one of the worst years that I've seen in NFL officiating in a long time. And it played itself out at the end of that football game. Some of the most atrocious calls. And I'll say it one more time. I'm not a guy that sits there and puts blame on officials for outcomes of football games. But if you're a Bills Mafia member right now and you look down the line here and you see some of those calls, that interception at the end of the football game, what were they thinking? And, you can't have games. You can't have games decided like that, especially in critical moments when every single play matters. You can make that call on this, that was one of the poorly officiated football games, maybe in playoff history. Now, look, that's not one of the reasons that they lost the game. It more so was on the fact that they had 5 turnovers in the football game, Buffalo. So that, to me, was the determining factor. Cook even fumbled the football. Cook, he had a good game, but he put the ball on the carpet himself. This goes down to also the defense of the Denver Broncos and how well they played and how well they harassed. I thought Josh Allen the entire afternoon. Once they started getting the Buffalo Bills in 3rd and long, no question, it became a long day for Josh Allen. Still was able to move the football because he was Superman, as I said, in a few moments in that ball game. But however, Clark Kent did appear in that game with those turnovers that he had, those 4 critical turnovers that really ended up costing him the football game and that team the football game. Once again, I did want to, hit on that presser he had and all of his teammates, rallying around him, saying we should have did a little more. We needed to play better. You're on the road in one of the toughest places to go into and play, Mile High Stadium. No question. This will go down as one of the big L's in Josh Allen's career and what he's had to do and all the things that he's had to hear because postseason play, I said this before to you, this is where you make your legacy. You make your money in the NFL season. When you're a player, your accomplishments make you your money. Your legacy he's clearly in the postseason. And when you have 4 turnovers in the ball game, people are going to look at it and go like this: hey, man, you've got to get over the hump. You know, I'm very critical of Jalen Hurts, okay? But the one thing that he does do, he protects the football. You know, spectacular plays versus making the critical mistake. My old coach Jimmy Johnson used to say, don't make the dumb mistake. You're here because you're a great player. And Josh Allen's a great player, but you cannot continue to make these grave mistakes in critical moments in playoff games. You just can't do that. And this is why, again, he's going back to Buffalo, and he's going to be on an airplane getting ready to go to Cancun. Make no mistake about it. That's a missed opportunity for the Buffalo Bills. All right, got to tell you about my great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America, and for a reason. It's because they win. Friends, this will be the easiest decision that you ever make in your life. I have a story for you here. $26 million was awarded to a family when they were initially offered $650K from a firm, and they said, no way. Team of attorneys went in, and they took care of business, and they got it done for you. Also, a family down in Florida was initially offered $350,000. Morgan & Morgan went in and got you $12 million. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. All right, we come back out of the timeout. Adam Kaplan is going to give us his takeaways on Saturday's divisional games. We'll do that next. You keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
All right, compelling stories yesterday in Saturday's divisional rounds, no question. I mean, one was a seesaw back and forth effort there with Denver and Buffalo, and the other one was a destruction. So let's go to our NFL insider, Adam Kaplan, and get his thoughts and his takeaways. I mean, you know, one game was a blowout, Adam. The other game was compelling, and then you're really excited about seeing what, you know, Denver was going to do potentially in the AFC Championship, and they get some devastating news. Just your takeaway. We'll start in Denver there. Just what you took away from that game, and then the storyline, obviously, after the game.
Yeah, look, Dan, coming into it, I did not think that a team could score as well as they did. The Bills did against that Denver defense and Vance Joseph, the great defense coordinator. But it was an unbelievable football game. And quite frankly, in my career, I've covered this business 27 years. And Dan, you know this from your time in football. This is the most compelling we've seen playoff games I can remember. Yes, the nightcap, which we'll get to, was a disaster in terms of competitiveness, but the NFL wants what's called competitive balance, and they got it. It was anyone's game. You have to feel for Sean McDermott, my former neighbor here in Philly, and the Bills. I know he's upset about one of the calls in particular, but the bottom line is their defense, when it had to, could not get the job done. And it's unfortunate with the Bo Nix injury, and we'll get it. We can obviously talk about who's going to replace him, but it was just a great game and one that you could not turn off.
Absolutely. And, all right, Adam, you covered the game, like you said, for all these years here. And, it's Clark Kent or Superman conversation for Josh Allen. I mean, This guy's the best player at his position and maybe one of the greatest talents we've ever seen. And I call him a modern day, bigger version of John Elway. That's what John Elway looked like, but he's a bigger version. The takeaway in the narrative that will be put out there, obviously, with that loss for him.
Yeah, look, I know people are going to say can't win the big one, hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl. It's all true. There's no question about it, but he can't do it on his own. It's like sometimes, Dan, we give too much credit to quarterbacks. Well, they're playing 1-on-11, but with Josh Allen, yeah, he had too many turnovers. There's no question about it. I know he was beat up coming into the game. You saw it to the Jaguars. He suffered 3 injuries, but you can't turn over like that. When you lose a turnover battle, you lose 80% of the time, going back several decades, and that can't happen. So I'm disappointed for Josh Allen, but Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, the general manager, they've been along for the ride. They drafted this guy in 2018. Remember talking to Beane about this, about the challenges of coaching, developing Josh Allen, because Dan, if you remember at Wyoming, less than a 60% completion rate. Guys like that at D1, they just never make it in the National Football League. So he's had to overcome this, and great coaching by Brian Dable early in his career, and league of coaching since then with Joe Brady. But yeah, I kind of feel for Josh Allen. He's never going to get the credit until he wins the Super Bowl. That's just the way it is.
How about the devastating news for Sean Payton? You end up losing on the last play of that ball game. You lose Bo Nix, and now Jarrett Stidham has to step in.
Yes, it's a broken right ankle. He'll have surgery. So surgery for that type of injury is typically 2 months. So obviously, even if they get the Super Bowl, he's out. Jarrett Stidham, Dan, is an interesting guy. He was highly thought of Bill Belichick, who drafted him in New England. He also had accuracy issues, which would come to the surface. He's started well less than 10 games. That's a concern, but I saw it here in Philly in 2017. You can't just assume when your starter gets hurt that you have no chance. No one gave Nick Foles a chance when Carson Wentz tore his ACL against the Rams in 2017, in Week 15 at LA. Now, it's going to be hard. And by the way, they also suffered 2 injuries other than Nix's injury. They're both at receiver. Troy Franklin, who played, ironically, with Nix at Oregon, suffered a hamstring injury. He didn't return. And then Pat Bryant, who they love, who was a 3rd rounder of Illinois, he suffered his 2nd concussion this season. So that's why they ended the game with there's 3 healthy receivers.
Absolutely here. How about the destruction that you saw Seattle and San Francisco? I mean, that was just a blowout. Take away from that.
Yeah, it's exactly what I expected. Look, I was wrong last week. I thought the Eagles would beat the 49ers, who were so shorthanded. Then they lose Kittle in that game against Philly with a torn Achilles. I rarely predict blowouts when I pick games. I thought this would be a blowout. It was. Brock Purdy had nothing really to work with. They're working with a bunch of backups at linebacker. It went really, quite frankly, Dan, like the way it should have. And the thing is, when Seattle scored the opening kickoff with Rashid Shaheed's 95-yard kickoff return, that just set the tempo and an absolute destruction. And let's not forget, forget what Seattle did to the Niners to end their season, where they handled the Niners in Santa Clara. So now, but one thing I do want to say, Dan, the Niners have a lot of work to do. We just mentioned George Kittle's Achilles injury. They've got to get Ricky Pearsall healthy. This is 2 years now that he really has not been healthy. And Brandon Ayuk didn't even play for them this season. He's unlikely to return due to the contractual issue, and it's clear that the Niners want to move on from him. And defensively, they had a lot of problems. Remember, 2 out of their top 4 edge rushers suffered torn ACLs. So they got a long way to go here. And depth for John Lynch, their general manager, that's got to be a pretty much on his agenda this offseason.
Do you believe the Seahawks are the best team in the NFL?
It's a good question. Now with the situation we have at quarterback for the Broncos, yes, they clearly are. The Rams, if they win, like I believe they will give them a run for their money. Chicago worries me about their secondary. Chicago, Dan, is interesting. Most turnovers forced. They're way down, an explosive plays given up. They give up way too many, and that does worry me with Matthew Stafford. I know it's going to be cold. I get that, cold weather, but it's not like Matthew Stafford's never played in cold weather in his life.
You know, real quick here, Sam Darnold's starting to look like Joe Namath 2.0. If you're a Jets fan, that guy goes on and wins a Super Bowl, Adam. I mean, Jet fans got to put his head. It'd be very painful if that plays itself out. That's quite a story, isn't it?
It is, and you know what? Look, he went to Carolina. He went to the Vikings. It didn't work out, although he actually did a good job on what they asked him to do. But the last two games were not very good. But overall, you got to give John Schneider, the Seahawks GM, credit for doing this. And it went to the perfect situation. Defense and running game, they're not asking him to throw the ball a ton, and that has certainly helped Darnold, who had a major turnover problem early in his career, but now he's kind of curbed it. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl, though, if they can get
You
there.
bet. Adam, I so appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for doing this, man. All right. Adam Kaplan, our insider there. We appreciate him doing this for us here. And yeah, I keep bringing that up here, man. I mean, you got Joe Namath 2.0 playing some ball up there in Seattle right now. Jet fans got to sit back and watch this. If that guy hoists that Lombardi trophy, man, make no mistake about it. We'll talk more about that destruction in Seattle. We'll do that next. You keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
You know, this NFC game on Saturday kind of played itself out, like Adam Kaplan said, that this was going to be a destruction. San Francisco really had no right being in that football game. They upset, obviously, the Eagles the week previous in the wild card, but this was a destruction, and this was pretty much what people thought would happen in this game, and boy, did they lay the wood on the 49ers, 41-6. And they took the whooping board out, and they beat that thing up, man. Holy cow. The 49ers were outmanned, they were out-coached, and they were out-physical. Now, I don't know if that Seahawks team is going to be in the same position that Legion of Boom was when they went to the Super Bowl years ago. But that defense is absolutely spectacular in what they did in this game. I mean, no question about it. Sam Darnold. I mean, listen, he was efficient in the football game. You look at the yards there, 124 yards in the ball game, but really it came down to a physical running game, and it came down to their defense. Their defense was all over Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy in the ball game did not look anything near like he looked when he was in that game against the Philadelphia Eagles the week previous. I mean, look, they were all over him. Their front seven was absolutely awesome in this football game. Their secondary was great. There wasn't really a lot of weapons for them to be able to go and move the sticks with. Look at Christian McCaffrey in the ball game too, and the job that they did. You know, the one thing that you notice when you watch this Seattle Seahawks defense is team speed. They get after the ball and they set the edges. That's a football team that understands defense and also understands schematics in defense. There's no question about it too. And I love the way that Clint Kubiak called that game. Hey, look, if San Francisco, who struggled mightily this year, going into this football game, had issues stopping the run, it played itself out in that football game. Look how they ran the ball. Love the kid, Walker. Absolutely great. Saw him at Michigan State a couple of years ago, and he played against Mike Caines, and he put the wood on him. 3 TDs, also catching the football out of the backfield. It was a well-constructed offensive approach by Clint Kubiak, who's probably going to get a head coaching job and could be your Ravens' next head football coach if you go down that lane there. So, again, I really like Seattle. I personally am now starting to believe that Seattle is the best football team in the National Football League. There is no doubt about it. They are now inching closer here, and they will obviously wait the winner of today's Rams in Chicago game. That's going to be really a weather game. We'll see how that plays out. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But Seattle has built this. I want to take you to John Schneider, their general manager, who I have great respect for. You come out of the Pete Carroll era, and now you're going into a new era, completely different faces that you have in that organization now. Look at how they've constructed. Look how they have built that football team. They still keep the premise, and they still stay within the framework of what they believe is winning football. You know what that is? Running the ball and playing lights out defense. You better bring your big boy pants if you're going to play Seattle. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't realize that they were this dominant until I saw them play against the Rams on the season finale. Then you started seeing that team, and as they're getting better and better and better and better and stronger each week, you're seeing that start to get the confidence more and more. Remember something, okay? Confidence comes with winning. Nothing more. Don't ever have anybody tell you, well, you know, if you play well. No, winning creates confidence. And that football team right now, at the beginning of the year, and you know, what was the biggest issue that people didn't give them enough credit for? You know what it was? The quarterback. Every time people get ready to say Seattle's the best team in the NFL, you know what the problem is? They land on Sam Darnold. Clint Kubiak kept him in the rails, kept him in the sandbox, didn't have to throw for 350 yards in this game. That wasn't needed. They are calling a great game plan for Sam Darnold. And you keep him in that lane, you let that defense take over, and that offensive line. One of the more underlined stories for Seattle this year has been that offensive line and how well they've played. I'll tell you what, if you want to make the comment, you can make the comment here that that football team is maybe the best football team on both lines, offense and defensive line. No doubt about it. Fantastic stuff here from the Seattle Seahawks, man. What a destruction. They just absolutely beat that rear end there in San Francisco. That is exactly how you move yourself in to the NFC Championship game. No question about it. Now, how about this? We're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk to one of our friends from the past. That is Terry Bowden. I played against his dad a couple times. And you know what? We'll do that next. Terry Bowden. Keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
I'm going to make a comment here to people here that the most significant coach in the history of Florida college football is Bobby Bowden. And I say that with respect because of all the great games we played against Coach and my relationship with him after, which was him and his wife. Every time I would call the Bowden house. He's on a walk right now, Dan. Make sure I'll be right back here. Terry Bowden joins us right now here. And, Coach, I got to tell you, your wife would always, or your mom would always go, I'll go get Coach. Hang on here, bud. Some of the greatest times in the history of college football were FSU Miami back in the day.
Well, for those of us college fans who are getting older than we want to admit, there was no greater rivalry for the longer amount of time than Miami and Florida State, where you could pick a good NFL team on that field. You would put an NFL Super Bowl team together on any year, and those were great games. And of course, I remember you and the guys that you played with because of the time I spent. I was on the staff at Florida State until '82, and then I moved on, and I was a head coach at Clemson and at Florida State. At Auburn. But y'all had some great years, and we've got a great one coming up in Miami's home.
Absolutely, Coach. And you know what, Coach? I think Indiana should be favored in this ball game, but Miami's journey has been really tough going into this. I mean, they end up taking care of A&M, then they go and take care of Ohio State. Obviously, they got in a shootout with Ole Miss. So they're primed and ready to roll. How do you see this game playing out, Coach?
Well, I can't go against Indiana. Indiana still checks too many boxes. They've got probably the best playing team. They've got probably the best quarterback overall, and their coach. I think not just Miami, every other staff in America would say somehow he has his players more prepared than everybody. That's a coaching thing. But I'm going to say this: we look at the last two games. I think Indiana, and I'm going to pick Indiana, but here's why I think Miami could very well do the upset. Indiana has played their best. I mean, they have shown us their best football the last 2 weeks. I really think Miami has moved upward. Their best is yet to come. I still think there's one better game. And I want to say this, the X factor in this game, and it's not what a lot of people are going to look at. It's not home field advantage. It's home sideline advantage. Because like you, Dan, I remember all the great Miami teams And when they were great, it was a show on the sideline in Miami. I mean, Ray Lewis, Michael Irvin slapping that belt. The Rock would show up. Jimmy Johnson shows up. Hell, you may show up this week. I don't know. We'll have all the old stars on that side. But that does something. That's what those kids respond to. And I would say it's the why you just never know in a game like this. Because I think Miami, the way they've trended upward, their best game may be yet to come. And I think we've already seen the best of Indiana, and it's pretty dadgum good.
Absolutely. But, Coach, would you agree that going into this game, I mean, Miami's offensive line in front seven with Ruben Bain and Messidor,
Right.
Those guys really could create havoc. And if you go back to that Big Ten championship game, Coach, I really think Miami had a better way with Ohio State than maybe Indiana did. So that's got to bleed some confidence into that game on Monday night, don't you think?
Oh, I think exactly. You're exactly right. I went back. I didn't study the last two games that much. I went back and looked at Iowa and Ohio State, where they had to score a touchdown in the last 2 or 3 minutes to win the game. Iowa held them to 104 yards. Ohio State to 118 yards. Miami is magnificent on the front. They can shut that running game. So I'm saying, first of all, if Miami can hold them under 120 yards rushing, they average 218. That makes them throw more than they like, and that puts your two defensive ends in a factor, the press in a factor, because then it becomes a game where they have to throw it not when they want to, when they have to. So I think Miami's front first, stopping that running game and making them throw when they don't want to, because Indiana throws it less than anybody in the playoffs, but he throws for more touchdowns than anybody in America because they run so well. They're throwing red zone touchdowns, and they're running it more than they pass it. So stop that run, and I think you knock Indiana out of whack like Iowa and Ohio State did.
Coach, it's going to come down to turnovers, right? I mean, both quarterbacks are just really playing really great right now. Carson Beck has been in big games with his time at Georgia and what he's done here, but Fernando Mendoza, I mean, Coach, what a great job he's done. I mean, plus he's going home, Coach. You know, here's a guy that went to Columbus High School down there. Mario Cristobal went to Columbus High School. Hey, folks, I can remember his dad telling the stories, too, going, hey, I remember Billy Bob Joe going there from Satellite Beach. And I'm like, I can just hear your dad saying that right now. But that's a pretty big storyline, him going back home there and playing in front of his home crowd there, Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, you know, my coaching time at Florida State goes back to the founder. I think the father of all this stuff, Howard Schnellenberger, when they said we're going to put a fence around Broward and Dade County, and we'll win national championships. And basically, that's kind of what they started doing again. Of course, Mario Cristobal, 2 national championships from right down there. So, and now he's kind of grown in his coaching. A lot of people don't realize that Curt Cignetti is 64 years old. He's been coaching 13, 14 years longer than Mario. And I think Mario is just now beginning to not make those coaching mistakes, to play his type of football. In fact, I've said all year long that Miami plays better SEC football right now than the SEC is playing right now. And that's a lot has to do with Mario and that offensive line mentality. And then there are always those nuts up front like you on that defense. I want to ask you something. Hey, and I know you were the strongest guy ever to coach there. Do you remember Ron Simmons?
Oh, my God. He was my idol when I was in high school. The only guy and the first guy in the history of Florida State to have his jersey retired, number 50. He always I wanted to be Ron Simmons, the great would go on to be wrestler. I wanted to be that guy. And when I had a chance to meet him, he was like one of the very first superstars right in the state of Florida, college football wise.
Well, he was an unbelievable. You know, he ran a 4.4 as a nose guard. He was about 240 or 235, but he benched. I don't think he benched as much as you did, but he was up in that 500 level.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, we said he was the only guy that could run behind the center and the guard on a scoop and still make the tackle down the other side. You know what that's all about. But anyway, I do remember, and I do think people that are out Miami fans or don't appreciate what that sideline. Every week I've watched Miami win. And the last 3 or 4, the sideline has gotten more like old Miami. And I'm just saying, those kids down there, they identify with that, the NFL players, with going to the NFL. And I just think, because I think Indiana will put 50% of the people will be Indiana fans in the stadium. But I don't think that's what you'll hear. You'll hear what's on the sideline.
Absolutely. Coach, real quick here. Curt Cignetti and the job that he's done at Indiana, amazing, huh?
It really is. But Dan, you know, I go back with Kurt and I grew up together. His father was my dad's offensive coordinator at West Virginia for 6 years. And then when my dad went to Florida State, Frank Signetti became the head coach, and Tommy and I played for him 2 more years and GA'd for him. Nick Saban was on that staff. And, you know, he was the smartest offensive coach I'd ever met. He was really incredible. So a lot of people don't realize Kurt didn't just luck into this thing. He grew up sitting around the table of a pretty good Hall of Famer coach himself. And so that was kind of where Kurt's he goes back a long way in knowing offensive football, because right now Kurt looks like the son of a football coach. The knowledge he has in delegating staff responsibilities and being so fundamentally sound in every phase of the game.
That's, the sidelines coach, Burt Reynolds and Sly Stallone. We used to have all those guys on the sidelines, all the stars. Really some great stuff back in the day, no?
No, great games. And it was about, those days it was about who showed up. It was going to be the game of the year for almost everybody in college football. And we're talking 80s, probably into the 90s, when these two teams were so good. Dion on the side for Florida State and all players like that. It was, again, that's kind of where, and I'll be honest with you, for the state of Florida, whether it be Florida, Florida State, or Miami, we need to get back to having great football in Florida. There is absolutely no reason that it shouldn't be, because I don't care if there's NIL in the portal. A kid likes to go down to that part of the country and play football. And when you're exciting and you have an exciting atmosphere, that adds to it. So good to see Miami back. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want Notre Dame in this year. I'm good to see them back too.
All right, next here on Sports Grid.
You wouldn't have your ex officiate your wedding.
Do you, Jake? Liar? Cheater? Gaslighter.
So why have anyone but America's largest injury law firm handle your injury case? With over $30 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Gaslighter, coitus crier, he's got more red flags than a bullfighter's attire.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Team USA really undersold this. The superstars really weren't going, but the rest of the world, Latin America, they really geared up. The Team USA actually put their best foot forward, almost like you're having like the dream team of the United States players here going to be out on the baseball diamond. Great pitching, great superstars around. So Clayton Kersaw's like, you know what? You got a spot for me where you can throw me 70 innings in this tournament, because I'm not going to be playing baseball the rest of the year, and I'm just going to go away and relax and be happy.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The immediate word on the street in Philadelphia and outside is that the best guy for the job would be Brian Dable. It's like all you have to do is spend an hour of your life with me and Tyrone every day, and you're going to learn so much and be prepared for future conversations. Because I told you this back in November.
The Craig Carton Show, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Who will play the Broncos in the AFC Championship game? Big game today, Texans and Patriots. I love this kind of game because this is going to be a defensive mentality type of football game. When you have a Mike Vrabel football team and you have a Mike Vrabel coach football team and that Patriots team, Make no mistake about it, you're going to get rough football. You're going to get a football team that plays lights out defense. And you're going to be playing against, if you're the Patriots and Drake May, you're going to be playing against the best defense in pro football. This Texans defense and the job that DeMeco Ryans has done is one of the best constructive jobs on building a defense I've seen potentially since the Ravens defense back in the early 2000s. This is absolutely one of the best football teams that has been constructed. Nick Casario, who came down from New England, the general manager, has put so many fabulous players on his defensive football team. This is going to be a battle of really, I think, a low-scoring football game as well because of both sides and how their mentality is when it comes to playing defense. I think there's going to be a kid in the next 3 years that's going to be even better than Michael Parsons and potentially maybe be the heir apparent to what Myles Garrett, the great pass rusher in Cleveland, is. And I think that guy's name is Will Anderson Jr. This guy is absolutely spectacular. You know, I knew he was a great football player when he was at Alabama. This may be easily Nick Saban's best player that he's ever coached on the defensive side of the football. He's got great tenacity, plays with strength. He's gotten bigger. You can see him filling out in his NFL body now. And then you got Danielle Hunter on the other side. Then you've got Stingley playing in the secondary. That is one of the best defensive football teams, and they come after people. Every single level, that football team is the best, I think, as a unit in pro football. I think the unit in Denver is outstanding. Defense always travels, especially when you have to go to Foxborough. You're looking at one of the truly best defensive football teams that I've seen, again, in a long time. Now, Drake May on the other side. I'll put this in here with you here with Drake May. You know, I love this kid ever since he came out of North Carolina. Spreads the football around. What was one of the biggest things that Mike Vrabel wanted when he went to Bob Kraft when he became the head football coach of the New England Patriots? That was that he wanted to make sure that he was going to bring in Josh McDaniels. You know, Josh McDaniels had been beat up a little bit on the trail when it came to being a head football coach. And you know what fans always have a problem with too? Fans always have a problem identifying what good coaching is, because what they'll do is they'll look at Josh McDaniels and say, this guy was not a very good coach. That's not the case. Maybe he wasn't a very good head coach, but Josh McDaniels. Do me a favor, guys. If you close your eyes and then you open them, do you not see skill set of Tom Brady with Drake May? Spreading the ball around, going to tight ends. Josh McDaniels has done a spectacular job in developing of Drake May. I mean, there is no doubt. You know, you can make the argument that Matthew Stafford is probably going to win the Most Valuable Player award this year, but some people are looking at it on the other end and going like this. Well, look at the job that they have done in developing of the quarterback. Remember, they came off of Mac Jones where they didn't develop him at all. And you see that really wasn't anything to do with his skill set, because Mac, I thought, played pretty well in substitution for Brock Purdy this year in San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan. So it was more the coaching. This leads me back to ownership with Bob Kraft. So let me get this right with the Patriots and why they're now becoming the gold standard when it comes to constructing of a football team. So am I right? Since Bob Kraft has owned the football team, he's gone to a Super Bowl with Parcells and with Bledsoe. And he's also gone to a Super Bowl. He's also gone with a Super Bowl with Brady and Belichick. And, right? So now there's an opportunity for him to go to a Super Bowl with Drake May and with Mike Vrabel. Folks, this is ownership at its finest. This is an ownership that empowers. This is an ownership that understands development. Fantastic job, really, all the way around in how you build the franchise back up. Let's go over to Houston. Don't forget, with Houston, they came out of the Deshaun Watson mess. You know, all of those issues that they had, and Look at what they've done. Ever since that 0-3 start, they have gone on a rampage. That is some job of coaching by DeMeco Ryans. He has just done an amazing job in how he has coached that football team. You know, I've made the comment that for me, if anything ever goes wrong with Ken DeBoer at Alabama, let me say this. The next head football coach at Alabama just might be DeMeco Ryans. Put that and file that away. I mean, if you ever want to make a transition out of Ken DeBoer, and after what happened with Indiana beating their rear end, that Houston Texans head football coach, okay, has Alabama ties, obviously played his ball there for Saban. He's a Saban guy. You're talking about a guy who was arguably one of the most underrated coaches in pro football, and that's DeMeco Ryans. And two great coaching jobs. For me, seeing two defensive-minded guys in a divisional round, and the winner gets an opportunity to go and play in the AFC Championship game. For me, if I had to pick, I'm going to go with the home team. And I'm going to say the New England Patriots get this bad puppy done with Drake May. It's in Foxborough. Folks, Patriots don't lose in Foxborough. They don't lose in Foxborough. Keep an eye on Milton Williams in this ball game, too. He's been a force since he came up from the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought that he would struggle in that scheme a little bit, but he has just absolutely proven me wrong. That's going to be one whale of a football game if you're a defensive-minded fan, and I am a defensive-minded fan, and I can't wait to see that game played out. You're going to have to take the under in that bad puppy there because that thing's going to be a low score. It's going to be cold. It's going to have wind up there. No doubt about it. I'm going to tell you who's going to come out of the NFC in this Chicago Rams game. We'll do that next. What's final thoughts next?
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board, national championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
Boy, you got to get ready for this one. This is going to be a mouthpiece football game here between the Rams and the Chicago Bears in this divisional round game to close out the divisional weekend. I can't wait to see this football game. Make no mistake about it, friends. I got to tell you, man, I like this Bears team. I do. I know everybody The betting favorite right now is the Los Angeles Rams heading into this ball game. I like this Chicago team. I like the job that Ryan Poles, the general manager, has done with this football team in constructing this game and constructing this team. I love what Ben Johnson has done with this football team as well. And make no mistake about it, going into this game, you're going to see some of the best coaching in the NFC between Sean McVay and between Ben Johnson. How about the job that Ben Johnson has done since he's gone into Chicago? I think we can all agree with this, that he's not coaching Caleb Williams the same way that he coached Jared Goff, right? So you want to know what great coaching is? Great coaching is building an offense around the skill set of a quarterback and what he does best. Think about this. If I gave you this number, what quarterback in the NFL playoffs right now has a 58% completion percentage for the year? You'd probably say somebody like CJ Stroud, potentially, right? It's Caleb Williams. So what does he do, Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson constructs a play and plays to this kid's skill set and what this guy does and how well he does things off script. That's coaching, my friends. That's getting it done. Caleb Williams has done such a great job on taking direction. And then you have Matthew Stafford, who is the old horse in the building. And you've got so many tools around for that guy. When you're talking Devontae Adams, you're talking Puka Nacua, you're talking to be able to have a great run game. Sean McVay is one of the best play callers in all of pro football. Make no mistake about it. He is. And you've got two exceptional play callers in this ball game. Look, this is clearly going to be a weather game. You know, the Los Angeles Rams playing inside of a dome. Matthew Stafford a year ago went into Philadelphia and almost won that game. And he almost won that playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles. That was probably the Eagles' toughest opponent a year ago in 2024 was, or 2025 playoffs. What was the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs? And he played well, threw for over 300 yards in weather, okay? However, you're going into windy Chicago. The wind coming off that lake, I've played there at Soldier Field, and this is a football game that's clearly going to be dictated by the weather and how well you're going to play offense. Now, the question is going to be, who is going to have the best running attack? And for Chicago, I saw them put up 281 yards in rushing against the Philadelphia Eagles later in the season. And those guys were able to run the ball. They had time of possession on their side, and they were able to win what? First and second down. Here's a key in this ball game. Keep an eye on this stat. What team will be in third and long the most will lose this ball game? The team that can control the clock, field position, and time of possession. Obviously, no turnovers in this ball game. It's going to be essential. I think you're going to see turnovers in this game because of the weather. That's more on the Rams side, in my opinion, because they throw the ball in the air more. They rely on Stafford to move the sticks through the air. Stafford's had a sensational season. He really has. That offense has been great. Devontae Adams has been a spectacular addition to that passing game. Actually, you can make the conversation that putting Devontae Adams in that offense has actually been an upgrade from having on the other side of Puka Nacua, having, Cooper Kupp in there. It's been an upgrade, especially when it comes into the red zone and 50-50 balls that are thrown in the air. Make no mistake about it here. This is going to be a football game that's going to be controlled on the ground and also at the line of scrimmage. First and second down is something to keep an eye on in this game. I've got, in my opinion, I'm going to take the upset. I'm taking Chicago in this one. At home, who would have ever thunk that? The Bears are, I think, going to upset the LA Rams here, and they're going to play in the NFC Championship game. And they're going to play against Seattle, in Seattle. That's who I got, man. I got the Bears in an upset. I don't know. I love this team. I know the Rams are the betting favorite going into this thing, but I got Chicago winning this game. Caleb Williams, who would have thunk it, right? All right. Hey, well, we're going to talk to Armando Salguero, our NFL insider. That'll be at the top of hour 2. Keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
We are in hour number 2 here on Outspoken. Dan Sileo here. We're efforting our friend Armando Salguero. Till then, a lot of coaching news going on. We'll also hit on some of the games that are going to be played today. But that coaching news, no question about it, the carousel continues to go and move with coaches that are now starting to fill some of these slots. Kevin Stefanski, obviously down in Atlanta. They ended up making that happen. And then also up in New York with the New York Giants and getting John Harbaugh signed up. Now, listen, there's no question about it. There's some jobs that are still out there. You still have the Titans job. You still have the Cleveland Brown job. You still have the Arizona Cardinal job. No doubt about it. You have to ask yourself this, and I brought this up yesterday, and we were talking about this when we said, if you're somebody like a Mike McDaniel, doesn't it make more sense to take a better OC gig, like say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers job, because you have Baker Mayfield there, who's an experienced quarterback and has had some success over the last 3 years, obviously, especially with the way that he's worked with coordinators, Liam Cohn, and the way he's worked with Dave Canales as well. And then you take a look at what's going on in Baltimore. So if you're Mike McDaniel, you do this. All right. And he's probably one of the biggest names out there, along with Clint Kubiak, who's the offensive coordinator up in Seattle. You would make this comment here and say, all right, if I want to go to a place like Cleveland and I want to become the head football coach, and remember, there's only 32 of these things. Okay? There's only 32 of these jobs on the planet. So you ask yourself, am I going to get these opportunities again? Now, Mike McDaniel, the former head coach of the Dolphins, I think is going to get potentially another opportunity to be able to do this. However, one of the things that, again, we could sit here and look and say, what's best for my career? Going to Tennessee? You're not sure who Cam Ward is. You saw what he did a year ago. Is that somebody you want to coach? Do you feel that you can turn the page with him and get him into becoming an NFL quarterback? Or if you go to Cleveland, is Shedeur Sanders the guy? Is that the guy that you think is going to be the dude that you're going to coach, and that's the future of the Cleveland Browns, is going there and coaching a Shedeur Sanders? Yet to be determined. And you have no idea if you take the Arizona job, if you go and say, okay, well, Kyler Murray, they don't really even have a future there because they don't know what the future is going to be like with Kyler Murray. They got big decisions to make in Arizona. So one more time here. I mean, end of the day, the coaching carousel here, I would say this to you. I'm taking a coordinating gig. Okay? I'm taking the coordinating. I'm taking that coordinator's gig. All right, we're ready to do this here with one of my favorite people on the planet. He is our NFL insider. He is Armando Salguero, and he joins us now right here on Outspoken. How you doing, bro?
What up, Sills?
How you doing, man? Hey, man, absolutely. What a day here, man. Let me take you back yesterday, my friend. What were your takeaways from those two games yesterday, starting Denver?
Yeah. So my takeaway from that, the overarching takeaway is two things. Number one, the game today between the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans is the AFC Championship game, it seems like. Why do I say that? Because Denver doesn't have a freaking quarterback. How's that for a little problem? Unless, of course, Sean Payton is on the phone right now begging Drew Brees to reload that arm and somehow come to the rescue because, obviously they lost Bo Nix to a fractured ankle and he's going to have surgery and he's done. And obviously that is terrible news. They are a great team, the number one seed, and they are going to host a game with their backup quarterback. That's terrible. And then my second takeaway is, man, Josh Allen, dude. I mean, it was a hard watch to watch him crying in the press conference.
It was.
Here's the guy, right? He's 30 years old, practically. He's 29. But he's going to be 30 the next time he plays football. He's married to an actress. He's got, a multi-$100 million contract. His life is good, except that he can't get to the Super Bowl, and he hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl. And this year, without Joe Burrow in the tournament, without Patrick Mahomes in the tournament, without even Lamar Jackson in the tournament, he was clearly and unabashedly, undoubtedly the best quarterback in the tournament. And he can't get to the Super Bowl. And obviously, I get it. Football is a team game, and his team wasn't good enough. Yesterday, he wasn't good enough. 3 turnovers.
Absolutely. So today's game, Houston and New England and the Rams and Chicago. How do you see these games coming out?
Well, yeah. So if Drake May can survive, arguably one of the best defenses, not arguably, they are. The Texans have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think they were second in points allowed this year. So we've talked about it multiple times. I like defense. I still think it wins championships. I think the Seattle Seahawks kind of showed that last night. I think that the Denver Broncos have shown that. And I think that Houston has shown that throughout the season. Don't sleep on New England's defense either. But the point being that I'm not thinking Drake May is going to put 30 on the Houston Texans today. And I just think it's going to be a low scoring game.
How about that Rams and Bears game?
Oh man, they don't like each other all of a sudden, right?
No, right? No.
and how they don't like each other. It's like this Ben Johnson's mad at the world type of thing. And the Bears go, if he's mad at the world, damn it, we're mad at the world. And it's the world against us. And we like us. Weird. It's obviously this stems from the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears rivalry, where they've been playing for 106 years or whatever it's been, and they haven't forgotten how they dislike each other. Ben Johnson grabbed a hold of that. He disliked Matt LaFleur, who, by the way, is coming back to the Green Bay Packers. And it was one of those things where, the drive-by handshakes and all of that. Well, the problem is Matt LaFleur is very good friends with Sean McVay. And Sean McVay called up Matt LaFleur and they talked. And Matt LaFleur gave him Chicago Bears information as far as he could give him. So it's a little, it's interesting now. It's beyond the field.
Absolutely. Armando, we got to roll. I appreciate you so much, brother. You bet. Armando Salguero, our friend, our NFL insider, man. We so appreciate him being a part of us here, man, and telling us again. I like, make no mistake about it, I like the fact that, you have a little bit of a heated rivalry there. Make no mistake about it. All right. Hey, folks, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. It's because they win. That's right. Family in Pennsylvania was initially offered $650K, got $26 million. A family in Florida was initially offered $350,000, and they ended up getting $12 million. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. We come back out of the timeout. We are going to take a look at Houston and New England. We will go into that LA Rams and Chicago game. That is going to be quite a ball game there at Soldier Field. We look forward to doing that. Big Sills here. And again, I'll tell you this, baby. That game is going to be a great one in Chicago. We'll do that next. Keep it live
there. It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
Keys to the game today that will determine, I think, the outcome of both these football games, who can punch their ticket to go to the conference championship games. First, we'll start with Houston and New England. This is going to come down to third downs. This is going to come down to establishing the run game, in my opinion. Okay, I mean, if you can't run the football in New England, what was one of the most important things during the Brady era that they were able to do to the Indianapolis Colts? They were able to run the ball, and the Colts were not able to run the ball. What other team always had success when they went to Foxborough? That was the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were always able to run the football when they went to Foxborough, and that's why John Harbaugh had success when he went there. One of the issues that they always had going into that place, into Foxborough, into Gillette, was the fact they were never able to run. Well, that's kind of going to be the same thing here. If Houston cannot establish a run game against the Patriots, that's going to be the determining factor in who comes out of this football game. And I got a feeling that, in my opinion, I think the New England Patriots are going to win first and second down because I think they have the better quarterback. I mean, I watched C.J. Stroud play, and I saw him play last week, and I thought he was a train wreck. But that football team won in spite of the play of the offense. Okay, Stroud did not have a very good football game. The defense was exceptional in that game last week. Going into this game, you're going to have both sides playing great football. And I don't think Stroud can go up to New England, and I don't think he can go into that environment and play, especially when you have a Mike Vrabel defense. Like Armando just said, don't go to sleep on that New England Patriots defense. That defense is as good and it has gotten better week in and week out. And it plays with a tenacity that the head coach, one of the great things that Bill Parcells used to always say, teams take on the identity of their coach. And I think the Patriots have started taking on their identity. And that's what they began to do towards the end of the season. They began to take on the identity of that football coach. And that's why the Patriots are maybe playing as good a football as any team in football right now. I'll tell you what, I agree with Armando. The winner of today, and we tweeted this out, I think the winner of today's game in Foxborough, I think is going to win the AFC. And you're going to see the Patriots and the Broncos in the AFC Championship game. And I got a feeling that here today, the Patriots end up getting this thing done. All right, let's go over to the Rams and the Chicago Bears. Boy, what will be the determining factor in this game? Run game. Isn't it funny? The league was founded in 1920. And two things have remained since 1920, over 100 years of football. You know what that is? Hey, if you can run the ball and you can stop the run, you're going to win ball games. As simplistic as it sounds, that's the key here to winning playoff football. Stop the run the ball. Whoever does that the best wins these playoff games. The teams with the big-time offenses, how many times have we? It's kind of like when you look at baseball. You see a baseball team during the regular season, they hit the big souvenir every year, and they have a lot of home runs. They get into postseason baseball, what happens? Starting pitching and defense takes over, right? That's kind of what you get with playoff football. If you can run the ball and stop the run, that's how you win playoff football. Defense travels better than offense travels in playoffs, especially when you have to go outside and especially when you have to play weather games. And that's what this game was going to be. And that's why I'm really picking the upset here. I like the way that this Bears team is coached. Not that I don't like Sean McVay. I've known Sean McVay since he was a kid. But this Bears team, there's something about this Bears team. The coach taking his shirt off, after a win. He's excited. The city of Chicago's excited. Rush Street is back to chirping again. Bear fans. Hey, the NFL is better when Bear fans are rear ends, are they not? It's better when Chicago is in the mix. This is one of the great franchises in pro football history. They've got so many great components there. I love DeAndre Swift. I thought DeAndre Swift has had a great year. Came up from when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. They brought him in. Swift has been so good. Loveland, their tight end. I thought this guy was a bum when he was at Michigan. No way. That guy's turned out to be a weapon. And Ben Johnson, you think there's any coincidence that the Detroit Lions finished in last place in the NFC North? Do you think there's any coincidence? That wasn't the same looking football team, right? I know they lost Aaron Glenn on the defensive side, and both coordinators were not in the building, and they didn't have those guys. But to go from first and winning as many of those football games to finishing last, you can't tell me that wasn't coordinator driven. And then Ben Johnson goes into Chicago and just completely reinvents Caleb Williams. I mean, Chicago football, the Bears, hadn't won a playoff game in 14 years. Chicago's good again? Do you know the Chicago Bears have not had a 4,000-yard passing quarterback in the entire existence of the franchise? They have never had one. On top of that, I can't name you the last all-pro quarterback that they ever had there. McMahon was great back in the mid-'80s because he was a guy that kind of represented the city with his attitude and his swagger. But they haven't had a guy in there. You know, they haven't. Listen, I know people are looking at the Rams rolling in, and they are the prohibitive favorite to win this football game. They have all the tools. It's set up for them to win this football game. But I'll tell you what, that Chicago team, they're physical, just like Carolina was. Carolina pushed them around a little bit, and I think you're going to see a little bit of that too, especially when you're in a weather game. All right. You know what I've got to do? I rarely do this, but I've got to apologize to Caleb Williams. Okay? I do. I said some pretty harsh things about him on draft day. I'm going to do that next. You keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
All right, very rarely do I do this because I always believe I'm right. Right? Okay. You know, talk show hosts always believe they're right, but I got to say this about Caleb Williams. I tweeted at him even, and I ripped this guy a new one because when I saw him at USC in the stands crying and moaning to his parents, and I'm like, come on, man. You want to be the number one pick overall. You want to be a face of a franchise. You got to conduct yourself like a leader. And I thought this guy was a bum. I thought this guy with his painted fingernails, and I found out what it represented after the fact. You know, sometimes when you see the outside picture of somebody and you don't know the content of their character, because, you know, sometimes we criticize people from 35,000 feet. We never look people really in the eye. Well, Caleb Williams, I got to tell you, man, I'm sorry, because I'll tell you, you're growing up in front of our eyes. The fingernails represent somebody and something significant to people that need help. You're growing up in Chicago. Every single time I see you step to the mic, you're kind of taking on the culture of Chicago. Tough, demanding, tremendous franchise with great history to it, with the Butkuses, the Sayers, the Singletaries, and of course, the legendary Walter Payton, who I had the privilege of playing against. He's starting to take on his own cape in a way. Got to say it, man. This guy's a leader. He's a face of a franchise. He's being coached. He's being coached hard, and he's receptive to it. I thought everything was handed to him at Oklahoma when he was there. Did he transfer to Southern Cal? No way, man. This guy's growing up in front of us. And he's a leader of men. That roster's following him. You know, they're starting to say in Chicago now, Chicago starts going when they're 15 down. Don't worry, our Superman. We have one here in Chicago. Able to leap the old Sears Tower. That's what he's doing. It's pretty remarkable to watch. You know, we can be wrong because sometimes when we cover athletes, we don't cover them growing. Not just as athletes, but as people. 58% completion percentage. Yet he finds a way to win. Won the first playoff game in 14 years for the Chicago Bears. When Ryan Poles, the general manager, drafted him, this is our future. But not only our future, but our present. You know, marrying and putting guys together, just like in any relationship, finding the coach, finding the GM, and most importantly, finding the quarterback is one of the more difficult things to do. We see it all the time, right? Well, we're seeing it here in Chicago. And I think he's going to put an absolutely great performance together today. The city is behind. Can you imagine? You're rolling into Chicago, coming from Los Angeles. Los Angeles. Into Chicago. That's like going into Philly or Buffalo or Pittsburgh. Some of the more demanding cities in the NFL and in sports. And you're rolling in, and you've got to win the city over. You know how you win the city over? Well, you win. Sometimes the most simplest things to do in life are the hardest things to accomplish. And there, Caleb, you made me look bad. Good for you. You're winning. And you're winning me over. You've won me over. This kid here, absolutely one of the faces of the National Football League. Hey, there's not another better example than I've seen of a guy going from this place and elevating and making people look bad. Kudos to you, man. I can't wait to see you on display today at Soldier Field, legendary Soldier Field, where Walter Payton made his greatness. Congratulations to you, man. I'm looking forward to your game today. Man, unbelievable. Good for you, man. Can't wait to see him at Stafford. The old and the new, teeing this bad puppy up. That's how you do it, my friend. Congratulations to you. All right. Well, Big Sills has got to start doing this here. You know what that is? National Championship game, baby. We are going to take a look and go in depth here in this National Championship game that's going to be played on Monday. We will do this next. You keep it right here on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
You want one of these? This is a national championship ring. Do you want one of these? This is my 1987 national championship ring. More difficult to win this today than it's ever been is to win one of these. Monday night, national championship setting, Indiana, Miami, and South Florida. 8.5-point favorites. Don't look at the point spread. Look at the two teams and how they've played going into this game. Let me make a point to you here going into this football game here. This game here, two teams playing the best. Who would have ever thought Indiana versus Miami in a national championship setting? Fernando Mendoza coming home. I love the kid. You know, I was telling folks prior to the show that he's been tweeting at me for about 5 years. Ever since, you know, he was in high school at Columbus High School in South Florida. And he ended up going to Cal. And he was telling me how he wanted to go to Miami. South Florida kid. When Manny Diaz was the head football coach at Miami, hey, Dan, he knew Mario Cristobal was going to become the head coach. Mario Cristobal's a Columbus High School guy himself. Can you say something for me here? Fast forward. The guy ends up playing one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football. Ends up winning the Heisman Trophy, a Big Ten championship. Since the late 40s, Indiana's never won one, an outright one. And now he's playing for the title in his home city on Monday. There's a part of me that is rooting for the story, but obviously I'm biased because of my Miami blood. Carson Beck coming into the game. Here's a kid here. See this guy here? Carson Beck? Carson Beck is a guy that people, they said, Dan, you know, one of the reasons everybody wanted him out of Georgia, they thought he was a turnover machine. They really didn't think he had the it factor. He's a heck of a storyline heading into this game. No doubt, maybe the most complete football team is the Indiana Hoosiers in this game on Monday night. But I would say this to you, that I believe that Miami goes into this football game with the two most important components that we talked about when we were just talking about the games that are going to be played today and have been played on Saturday in the divisional rounds. If you own the best O-lines and if you own the best front sevens, I think you're going to be able to give yourself an opportunity to win on Monday. Obviously, I'm going for the Canes on Monday. I think they take care of it. And by the way, I think Miami has had the better road to prepare them for this game. Ask yourself this. It's funny. Mario Cristobal, who was texting me last night, he asked me any words that I had for the team. And I said, blind faith, man. All the things that you guys had done have been answered. You don't have blind faith any longer. You've applied it. You beat A&M. You beat Ohio State. You beat Ole Miss. And now you got a shot to take out Indiana. Very few people are giving you an opportunity to win this game on Monday night. I think the Canes, again, if they're going to control this football game, they have got to get Fletcher going in the run game. They have got to win first and second down. They've got to establish the run game. And also, I would say this, don't panic. Indiana has a hell of a defense and maybe a little bit more of an underrated defense heading into this game. You got to keep pounding. Pound that rock. Keep pounding that rock at the rock. The coaching in the game. Let me start with Curt Cignetti. Has to be one of the greatest coaching jobs I've ever seen in my entire life. Indiana football. I mean, look at that win percentage. He's 28-2. Okay, at an SEC team or a Big Ten team like Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State, not at Indiana. I love the arrogance. By the way, there's a part of me that digs this dude because Google me. I'm a winner. I mean, the way he handles himself, to me, is a little Saban-ish. Obviously came off the coaching tree of Nick Saban, was on that 2015 coaching staff with Mario Cristobal, by the way. He is some coach. He's arguably the best coach in the country right now. If you were going to hire anybody at any level, you're going to hire Curt Cignetti. NFL, college, he's just a winner. And on the other hand, Mario Cristobal. Let me give you a little history with my relationship with the family. I've known the family for over 40 years. Played with Mario's brother, Louis. Was a teammate of mine at the University of Miami. Jimmy Johnson recruited both his brother and Mario. Jimmy would end up leaving and going, obviously, on to the Dallas Cowboys. And I've known the family for 40 years. Actually, I've known the family since I was 17 years old. And Mario had some bumps and bruises on getting to where he wanted to go. I remember him calling me going, Sil, should I leave Oregon? Should I leave Oregon? Phil Knight was throwing a mountain of money at him. And he goes, I got to come home. I go, you got to come home. You got to remember, when you're a Hurricane, I mean, it's a Canes thing. You know what they say? you wouldn't understand it. It's a Canes thing. He had to come home. We text all the time. And you know what we always talk about? Want to know. I should show you my text messages from him. Want to know. We don't worry about what happened yesterday. We worry about what we're going to do today. I don't care about tomorrow. I care about right now. You know, there's been a lot of criticism of him when you go back a couple years ago when he screwed up the Georgia Tech game. And people were saying his in-game coaching is not very good. Well, I don't care what anybody says on what he's done here in this playoff run. Hey, this is one of the best. And I would make this point. If they win the national championship, they've gone through A&M, as we said, beating Ohio State, beating Ole Miss, and then beating Indiana. Of our 5 national championships, and if you want to put Notre Dame, they beat them earlier in the year. This would be the greatest run that the school's ever had on the quest to win a 4th national title in South Florida. We've won 3 of our national championships in South Florida at the old legendary Orange Bowl. Now we're at Hard Rock, Monday night. You bet I'm taking my Canes. You bet. When we played there, it was Camelot. I know 8.5, but I'm going with my Canes on Monday in the upset in South Florida. And now we're going to talk to a guy who was with me when we won the national championship, when we played for all those great games, those 30 for 30s that you see. Butch Davis is going to join us. He was my former D-line coach. We'll do that next. Keep it right here on Sports Grid.
I know you didn't. Talk! I'm innocent. Got the wrong guy. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything. Okay, it was me. I did it.
Bringing an owl to an interrogation? That's a power move.
Every time.
Yeah. Hiring America's largest injury law firm for your injury? That's also a power move. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Team USA really undersold this. The superstars really weren't going, but the rest of the world, Latin America, they really geared up. The Team USA actually put their best foot forward, almost like you're having like the dream team of the United States players here going to be out on the baseball diamond. Great pitching, great superstars around. So Clayton Kersaw's like, you know what? You got a spot for me where you can throw me 70 innings in this tournament because I'm not going to be playing baseball the rest of the year, and I'm just going to go away and relax and be happy.
The Early Line, only on Sports Grid.
The immediate word on the street in Philadelphia and outside is that the best guy for the job would be Brian Dable. It's like all you have to do is spend an hour of your life with me and Tyrone every day, and you're going to learn so much and be prepared for future conversations. Because I told you this back in November.
The Craig Carton Show, only on Sports Grid.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on Sports Grid.
Tell you what? The national championship game is going to be a hell of a football game, and it's going to also be a hell of an environment that we're going to see in South Florida come Monday. No question about it. They're even starting to do skits on Saturday Night Live about my friend Michael Irvin. I mean, I'm tuning in to SNL last night, and I see them on Weekend Update. They're starting to do, skits now because Michael's on the sideline, and make no mistake about it, he's kind of like taken over for our mascot, the Ibis. And so, I'm thinking to myself here, I go, okay, so now we're going to see so many celebrities. And one of the coolest things that we used to do at the University of Miami was we would have the old veteran guys come with us. And you know what they would do? They would go on the sidelines and they would want to pass the baton to us. Okay? They were always wanting to, like the Jim Burt's back in the day, former New York Giant nose tackle, or Jim Kelly. And we really started this family of how we passed on the traditions of the university. And it's starting to get back to that now. And you're starting to see that. And I'm really glad to see that, because that's what really made the U, was that we were able to connect the past and the present. Now, for the last 20 years, the University of Miami's been wallowing in the desert for the last couple of years. And I mean 20 years. And we have not had good seasons. We have not had connection with the past, because that's the only thing we were selling was the past. Now, with what these kids have done and what Nil has done, look, I told people this before. Name, likeness, and image is one of the most important things. I got into sports talk for a reason. I got into sports talk because I always believed that kids and college kids should have been paid. Now we're here. And a lot of people don't like it. And you're seeing some of these other programs now starting to benefit a lot from it. And also the transfer portal. I am a gigantic fan of this. I am a fan of having kids make money. You're now starting to see this as well. You saw Dante Moore, the quarterback at Oregon. Okay? The quarterback at Oregon chose to stay in college instead of going and potentially going into the National Football League draft. Okay? This is what exactly I thought Shedeur Sanders should have did. I thought Shedeur should have came back, and I believe he should have came back with his other year of eligibility, maybe improved his draft status, and on top of that, you'd be making more money, okay? More money than he's making right now as the starter for the Cleveland Browns. You're going to see a lot more kids, in my opinion, that are going to be going the way of Nil and staying in college. I would have. If I knew that I wasn't going to be a first or second round draft pick. By the way, I was the 56th player taken in the draft. I probably would have played my final year if I had known more what I knew. And that was that I was going to be able to maybe elevate my draft status, make more money. And for me, what I would have did was I would have went and said, Coach, I'm going to come back and I'm going to stay and I want to see if I can improve. Now, it's a gamble, but nowadays you're making so much money. And the ability and the opportunity for you to make a ton of money is now in the college level through Nil. So, again, I'm looking at it in the eyes of the player here, not in the eyes of what you see with college football. There's a lot of people that look at this and say, is this bad for the sport? Is this bad for the game? It's not bad for the game. It's created Indiana. Look at what it's done. It's created Indiana. It made Indiana. Indiana's here because of 17 transfers that they had from James Madison. Indiana's not in this position. Plus, they got a couple transfers from Notre Dame. The starting centers from Notre Dame. Without Nil and without the transfer portal, IU's not playing in this game. They're not. I think you're going to see, again, more programs. Look, you got an ACC team that is now playing in the national championship game. An ACC team. Who would have ever thought that? Who would have ever thought that? That you would be seeing an ACC team, especially with the way the landscape is set up right now. Big Ten, SEC. Big Ten, SEC. I am so happy that we're in this place and in this space in college sports. It's important, folks. It really is. Because you're going to see more programs like IU. I think it's one of the best things on the planet that we're here now paying these college athletes. I mean, the coaches can't be the only people that make this money. Look what Lane Kiffin just did. You know, people get all over these kids for wanting to transfer, wanting to make money. What about Lane Kiffin? Look at what he did with those Ole Miss kids and how he kept those Ole Miss guys. And he took the coaches away from those guys for those guys to be able to have an opportunity to play in a national championship game. I mean, can you imagine the upheaval you had in that coaching room when you had to deal with all that? Right? I mean, make no mistake about it. We're in a great place right now in college football, and I think it's only going to get better. I like Nil, and I like the transfer portal, and I think it's one of the best things. I'm tired of seeing the old blue bloods. About time we got some new blood going into college football, and that's what you're seeing in the national championship game on Monday. That's right. I mean, Indiana, Miami. Not what they wanted to see. My final thoughts, what is going to be a great weekend here. Do that next on Sports Grid.
It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on Sports Grid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on Sports Grid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on Sports Grid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kawan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on Sports Grid.
What an absolutely spectacular day set up here in the final divisional games here with the Houston Texans and also the New England Patriots, Rams in Chicago. Storylines yet to be played out here. I would say this to you here. You know, what we saw on Saturday was lost opportunity for Josh Allen. You know, my theme coming into this weekend on Outspoken was really, I wanted to see a man fulfill his destiny. And that was Josh Allen. And unfortunately, we saw him at the podium in tears. I'll say this to you. You're going to see a lot of people coming down like a ton of bricks on him. I still think he's the best quarterback in pro football. But as we said earlier in the program, your destiny, your legacy is made in the postseason. It's made in the postseason. There's no other way to look at it. You could play great and have an absolutely sensational year, be an MVP. But legacies are made in the postseason. That's where you make your name. That's where you make the opportunity, where people remember you. No doubt, is in the postseason. And Josh Allen falls short. You got another guy in Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is making his legacy. And he's changing the narrative. You have one guy who the narrative is remaining with Josh. You have another narrative that he's changing. Sam Darnold, bust, failure, journeyman. That journeyman is now playing in the NFC Championship game. How's that for you? Some journeyman. How's that not one of the greatest stories in pro football? That guy is now changing narrative. Bust. Can't get it done. Not a good player. Was a waste of an overall number. Was a waste of a pick. I mean, this is what sports is all about. Sam Darnold is what sports is made of and made for. Telling people and showing people I'm not a bust. I'm not. The games today, Caleb Williams, man, guy growing up in front of me. Kudos to the kid. I'm so impressed with him as a human being. Matthew Stafford, who was dying on the vine in Detroit. He was just dying in Detroit. He had Megatron. This guy had Megatron, and he couldn't do anything with him. Had never won a playoff game in Detroit. Now he gets a chance to go to Chicago and solidify his legacy. And to do something that even Dan Marino couldn't do. Win 2 Super Bowls, let alone 1. There's so many great. Drake May, bringing back the New England Patriots to where their greatness was under Brady. How about that football team in Houston coming out of the Deshaun Watson era, and now you're in a brand new era here with DeMeco Ryans. So many great storylines. How about the Denver Broncos? Now, is this going to be a Nick Foles? Does Jarrett Stidham step in like Nick Foles and carry that football team to a championship? One of the greatest things about pro football, you just never know. Everyone thought the Eagles were done after Carson Wentz went down and he blew his knee out, right? At the LA Coliseum. All of a sudden, journeyman Nick Foles rolls in and gets it done. God, there's so many great storylines. Also, Monday night, my Canes. I can't wait. Title number 6, baby. And it's coming. I can't wait. All you naysayers out there, I won't go there yet. I won't go there. But I will say this to you here. Come Monday night, people are going to be doing this. And I promise you, at the end of that ball game, go Canes. And I will see you on the flip.